Hi guys, it's Elena here. So today I want to talk about being a vegetarian or vegan in Switzerland, and also about common food allergies such as lactose intolerance and gluten intolerance in Switzerland, and how easy it is to buy products, to go to the supermarket, to go out and eat, is it expensive, and stuff like that. I'll talk about vegetarianism first, then I'll go on to vegan, and then I will talk about food allergies. So I thought this video would be interesting for people who, if you're planning to travel to Switzerland and you're a vegetarian or have some food intolerances, or even if you're planning on coming to live here and you're hesitating about it, I hope this information will be useful for you. First of all, what you really need to know about Switzerland is that there are two main supermarket chains. There is one called the Micro and a Coop, C-O-O-P. So in both supermarkets you can find cheese and milk especially. It's a big dairy place. So in general, if you're a vegetarian, especially one that will eat dairy products, you will have absolutely no problem whatsoever here. There are there's plenty of eggs as well if you're an ovo-vegetarian. I have never found a single yogurt here that contained gelatin in it, so you definitely don't have to worry about that. That's what's one of my problems every time I go to the US is I can never have yogurts there because every single yogurt I've ever seen there contains gelatin and stuff in it, and it's really annoying. That you won't have that problem here in Switzerland. It's all gelatin-free yogurts. But for the most part, there's a lot of full-fat dairy yogurts, so you have to be kind of careful when you're looking at them if you want lower-fat versions of it. Moving on, there are two main supermarkets, and in both of them you can find quite a bit of fake meat, like vegetarian meat options or vegan meat options for people who eat that. I have it sometimes, especially when I'm around my family, seeing as none of my family is a vegetarian except for me. They found it to be a little hard and they didn't really like the idea very much. So when I eat fake meat, it seems to go down a bit better than when I'm just eating beans and lentils and stuff. So when I do buy fake meat though, I'm very careful to look at the labels and stuff because they do contain not usually, but sometimes they contain palm oil or a lot of unnecessary fats or salt or stuff like that, so I usually go for the plainest ones. Like, I look in the back, and the less amount of ingredients it has, the better. So I will talk first about the Micro. So this is one of the two supermarkets. The Micro has this brand called Carnature. I have a product with me which I will show you, and I hope it focuses. Focus. And if it really doesn't work, I'll just put a picture. This is like, they make it out of soy and you know, this corn, mushroom, all kinds of stuff like that. It's pretty well done. And they're actually, you know, I don't remember the price of this was, but it's not more pricey. I took a look at it and it's not a lot more pricey than buying red meat. It depends, especially if you're buying, you know, organic red meat or stuff like that. Another thing that's really useful about the fake meat, and there's quite a variety of them. There must be at least 20 or 30 different in the Micro brand, types of different fake meats that you can buy there, which is really nice. They have like, you know, these are grill ribs. I hope this focuses and you can see it. These are grill ribs, but they have all kinds. They have ground beef that I use sometimes. They have like falafels. Even they have even like potato starched one. I don't know. They have all kinds of funny fake meats. The other thing that's very useful is that, as you can see, I don't know if you could see it, but this one here is actually vegan. They have ovo-vegetarian ones, lacto-vegetarian ones, and it always says it on the label that if it's vegan, lacto, ovo, or stuff like that, which means if you look at the label, if you're vegan, you'll be able to tell. And they usually have a good selection of vegan ones as well. They have, I would say, at least half of them are actually vegan, so that's pretty nice. Here, I really hope this focuses. This is the label. This is a label for vegetarian stuff. It will be on anything that is vegetarian. It will have this label on it, and it will say under it usually if it's, yeah, if it's vegan or ovo lacto or just ovo vegetarian, stuff like that. It's very useful. So the Micro is nice. Now the Coop, the other supermarket, actually has 2 brands of vegetarian foods. There's one that's called Deli Corn, which looks like this. Focus. And there's one that's called Karma, which is a newer one that they just came out with like a couple months ago actually. I think it hasn't even been a year since it started, which will look more like this. This is the tofu. So I will talk about the Karma one first. The Karma offers mostly tofu. This is just plain tofu, but they have like all the tofu imaginable. That it's, oh yeah, I did not mention this actually. You can buy tofu at the Micro as well, at the other supermarket. They have a lot of tofu, but not as much choices at the Coop. They just have plain silken tofu or hard, or I don't know, hard? You say hard tofu? Not sure. Tofu. Different textures of tofu that you can get at the Micro too that are decent enough. At the Coop though, they have this brand, Karma, which offers it's an Indian vegetarian based sort of brand. Karma, I guess you would think of the name. And they offer a bunch of different tofus. They have this plain tofu, they have herb tofu, curry tofu, ginger tofu, pesto tofu, fried tofu, smoked tofu. They have a bunch of tofus, which is very nice, especially for me since I love tofu. So I tend to switch it up and buy different tofu. I recommend the curry tofu especially, that is actually my favorite one. They also have this brand Karma, mostly they make falafel balls as well, some paneer cheese, like little vegetable meat things, but not a lot, like 2 or 3 of them. They don't have a lot, they don't really have any fake meat. What they mostly have is tofu and microwave dinners. They have this whole selection of microwave dinners, like there must be 20 of them or 30 of them. Like vegetable curry, stir-fried noodles. They have a bunch of them. I have never tried any of them because I just don't eat a lot of microwave. I don't know, like I said, like already with the fake meat, I try and stay away from stuff that's got too many preservatives and other stuff added to it. I can't say if they're any good or not since I've never tried them. They look good, and I've had other microwaved food from the supermarket, from brands that were similar to this, and it's good quality. You know, in Switzerland, for the most part, the quality, I mean, stuff is expensive. Life here is expensive, but the quality is very good, so you can't complain. I mean, one day when I'm like pressed for time or something, I'll try to buy one and I'll let you know, I'll review it and let you know if the microwave food's any good. That's for Karma. Now, Deli Corn, which is the other brand I was talking about, they make stuff with, you know, soy. This is a fake meat brand mostly. This one here, for example, is I don't know if you can tell, but this is an ovo vegetarian one. So it's made with egg whites, and what does it say here? This one I bought for myself because it doesn't have as much stuff in it. It's mostly, yeah, soy, protein, egg whites, you know, colza oil. It's decent enough. I eat this. They're both pretty good, you know. This one, just like this one. They're both, honestly, they're pretty good. They're not probably great for you, but they're good enough for fake vegetarian or vegan meat. This brand offers a big selection, and for the most part, these ones contain, I found most of these don't contain palm oil, as opposed to the Carnature ones from the Micro, which I find about half of them contain palm oil in them. So you have to check the labels. About that, unfortunately in Switzerland, English is not an official language, so when you're looking at ingredients, it's not going to be in English. But since we do have 3 official languages, French, German, and Italian, everything is listed in those 3 languages. Like everything, all the ingredients, the way to cook it, everything. Which means that if you kind of speak a little bit of Italian or a little bit of German or something like that, you'll still be able to figure this out. And for those of you who don't know, German is much closer to English than French or Italian is, so try looking at the ingredients in German and you might be able to figure out what it is in English. In general, most people here do speak to a certain degree some English, so you can definitely like ask shop people, you know, do you speak English? And they'll try and help you out, you know, is this vegetarian, is this vegan? But if you just want to know if it's vegetarian or vegan, like I said, check the label on it. I'll try and put a picture of it if it doesn't focus. The label, under the label here, it will say, you know, ovo vegetarian, vegan, and stuff like that. So it'll if you just need that, it'll say. And the supermarkets also carry, both of them, carry a lot of, as I said, vegan meat options, but they also carry all sorts of beans, such as this. Oh, I forgot the lentils. They contain they have a bunch of lentils and stuff. They have like all kinds of beans. They have kidney beans, you know, all kinds of white beans. They have all kinds of stuff. They have a bunch of tofu, like I mentioned. They offer an awful lot of organic food, especially the vegetarian stuff. They offer all kinds of organic stuff as well, if you'd rather eat, you know, organic lentils, organic stuff. So one thing that you will have no problem with is, as far as replacing dairy and stuff, they offer, both of these chains, I don't have any with me, but they offer soy milk. Like 3 or 4 different kinds of soy milk, like calcium and vitamin D, just calcium, plain, vanilla, chocolate flavored soy milk. So soy milk will not be a problem. They also carry soy yogurts, which are nice. They have like soy desserts and stuff too, like instead of dairy they have like soy cream desserts and stuff. They also have soy cooking cream that you can use. There's obviously margarine and stuff. They both offer rice milk, but they do not carry almond milk, unfortunately, which makes me really sad sometimes. They don't carry almond milk. They just carry soy milk, basically, if you want soy. It's gonna be soy, everything. They don't have almond yogurts or anything like that. It's just soy based. They don't have vegan cheese either. Now, some places where you can find almond milk, like grain milk and stuff like that, is at like organic stores and stuff. Bio stores carry a lot of this stuff, like specialized bio stores will definitely carry almond milk. Unfortunately, it's sweetened almond milk, and there is only one kind. It's not like flavored or anything. That's where you'll find a lot of beauty products that are vegan and animal cruelty free and stuff like that. But yeah, there's not a lot of these stores, and generally the stuff there will be more expensive. Moving on, yes, I'm going to talk now about, so this is just buying your groceries and eating at home. I'll talk about going out to eat afterwards. This in one take. I really hope my camera's picking it up and it hasn't shut down or anything. I should check it. It's recording, but I'm gonna have to charge it a bit because it's gonna run out of batteries on me in a minute, so finish this later. So, my camera's fixed, it's charged, so I'm gonna do the second part of the video now. Now, while my camera was off, I actually went down and got the lentils that I mentioned before, because they do carry lentils. I got these actually because they are organic, so this way I can show you what the label looks like. For this one, these are from the Micro supermarket, so I can show you what their organic label looks like. I really hope this focuses properly, especially since I'm shaking, I think. So there's a bunch. I'll make a video about labels and vegetarian label. There's all these labels in Switzerland and what they mean and stuff like that. I should make a video. I probably will about that. Now, moving on, I will talk about people with food allergies like lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance, and everything like that. So there's soy milk, but other than soy milk, there's also cow milk that is lactose free. They both carry milk that is lactose free. That's a tad bit more expensive than regular milk, obviously, but not ridiculously more expensive. It doesn't seem like. I've bought them and I've tried them and they taste the same as milk and they don't taste weird and they don't have anything much added to them. They're just lactose free, so it's pretty good. There's also lactose free yogurts. Not a lot of flavors. There's like plain and a couple of fruit flavors, maybe chocolate and coffee, something like that. Not a lot of flavors, but yeah, there are some that they're dairy yogurts. There's also obviously the soy yogurts in both places that you can get to if you rather have that, so that's definitely available. They even have like lactose-free ice cream, lactose-free pizza, frozen pizzas. I don't think they have any fresh ones. They have frozen lactose-free pizzas. They have like cream, I think, that's lactose-free as well. They have they have stuff. Not a lot of it. There's not there's not as much as the full, you know, the regular versions of dairy, but there are some. And it doesn't seem like they're much more expensive, so it's not a big deal. You are gluten intolerant. Supermarkets carry a lot of gluten-free items as well. Like here I have gluten-free pasta that I bought here. I tried this one, not a big fan. But I mean, I'm not lactose intolerant or gluten intolerant, so I don't mind it, but I did try these. This is the label for gluten-free, for wheat-free actually, this label right here. I hope it focuses. Like I said, I'll make a whole video about just all the labels and what they mean, because they're European labels generally, so anyone from any other country in Europe probably understand them, but I can see where Americans or stuff like that would have trouble with the European labels maybe, so for food labels and stuff like that, I will make a video about it. They have gluten-free pasta, they have gluten-free... What's very nice is that they have a whole range also of gluten-free flours and stuff that you can use if you like baking. Then they are a bit expensive though, that I have to admit. But I don't have any with me, but I've used them and they work quite good. And it's very nicely done because they have like gluten-free cake flour, gluten-free bread flour, gluten-free pasta flour if you want to make like your own pasta and stuff like that, which is quite nice actually. That the Coop has it. I'm not sure if the Micro has it, but definitely the Coop does. And I have used some of their flours and the flours work pretty well. They have, you know, gluten-free bread. They don't have a lot of gluten-free. They do have some, but it is a little more expensive. I personally don't like the taste of it as much, but if you are gluten-free, it's clearly better than nothing, so yeah. They have gluten-free breads, gluten-free toast, I think, and a few things. I'm pretty sure they have gluten-free pizzas too. Frozen pizzas, like 1 or 2 of them. If you have other allergies, like nut allergies or sesame allergies or other sort of common food allergies, it usually says on the food if it does contain it or not. It'll say like it contains traces of gluten, of sesame, of egg, or stuff like that. While my camera was charging, I actually went and had lunch, and I actually ate lunch that I was showing you before. I really hope that it picked up so I don't have to show this again, because it's gone now. But on the back, it actually has the allergies. There's a little, like, green... These are for the Cope products. The micro ones, I'm not sure if they have all the common allergens on it or not. But for sure the Cope ones, all the products have this little green, like, rectangle where... I hope it focuses. Where it says, like, contains egg, gluten, soy, sesame, which it contains all these sort of common allergens and stuff, so you can look at that to see, because, you know, it's not necessarily listed in the ingredients, but it can be made with, you know, stuff that could contain gluten in it and things like that. Now, if you want more things, there's not a whole lot of stuff available, I have to admit, for gluten intolerant people. There is some stuff. If you want more, though, there's a lot of, like, brown rice pasta and stuff like that you can find, like gluten-free pasta, gluten-free rice, gluten-free, you know, cereals and stuff like that. There are gluten-free cereals in the supermarket. I didn't mention that, but there are. Not a lot. There's like 2 or 3 different choices, but there are some, definitely. That I remember. If you want more products, you can try organic stores. There's an online organic store for all of Switzerland, which I will link in the bottom in the description somewhere. It's like an online bio shop. Like I said before, organic is bio in Switzerland, so it will be bio shop. So you could buy a lot of stuff online. Well, not a lot actually. I've been on it and there's not a whole lot, but there's some stuff that you can buy online. And on that site you can also find a lot of shops and where they're located and stuff like that, so it's pretty useful. I'll put that down. So if you want to go there, they have more options for gluten-free stuff. And that's also where they have a much bigger selection of like soy milks and other types of dairy-free milks, lactose-free milks, and they quite possibly some of these places also carry vegan cheese. Not all of them though. There's a lot of these places are really small. They're like 1 aisle or 2 aisles at best, so you can imagine it's not very big. So moving on now to eating out. If you're going out to eat as a vegetarian, you will have, especially if you eat dairy, if you just eat eggs, it might be a little trickier, but if you eat dairy, especially cheese, if you don't eat cheese, then it'll be a little trickier. But if you eat cheese and stuff, you won't have any problem. I mean, all Italian places, you know, serve pizza with just cheese pizza, vegetable pizza. There's a lot of places that carry all sorts of... There's almost always, even places that aren't supposedly vegetarian, there's always at least, it seems like there's always at least one vegetarian item on a menu just about everywhere I've been. As long as you eat dairy and eggs, so vegetarian. There's a lot of different types of places, there's a lot of different types of restaurants and stuff, and there's almost always some kind of vegetarian. There's always, at worst comes to worst, there's always a salad bar. Almost every single place there's some kind of salad thing, so you can always just take a salad if you really have to. As far as vegan, I've been quite surprised, but there's a lot of vegan options as well. Now, vegetarian and vegan items on menus aren't typically... Vegetarian sometimes, but vegan not really. They're not like advertised as being vegan. There's not like a section that says vegan. But when you read through what it contains, it's like vegetable stir-fried rice noodles or something. It's obviously not, it's obviously at least vegetarian. Probably vegan, because most people will cook probably with oil. But they could cook it in butter. They could cook some stuff in butter. So if you're really that concerned about it, you could try and ask the waiter and stuff. I've been able to eat vegan sometimes, or for sure vegetarian. I've never had a problem with vegetarian any place I've ever been, really. But if you want to be sure, you just look it up online. And if you look up vegetarian, like Geneva or Lausanne, or wherever you want to go, you will have 200 pages of stuff. There's even fast foods and stuff that offer, well, fast foods. There's even, like, especially in this part of Switzerland, I live in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, there's this fast food called Holy Cow, which offers, like, vegetarian burgers. In Switzerland, we don't have KFC, we don't have Taco Bell, we don't have all these other Americans fast food. All we have are McDonald's, and some places have Burger King. And that's it, as far as American fast food chains. Trying out new places, so I'm gonna start a series, I think, called Takeout with Me, where I'll get takeout food from different places, vegetarian food, and like talk about it or review it or stuff like that. If you're gluten sensitive or lactose intolerant or anything like that, like have nut allergy, you're gonna have more trouble getting food than if you're just vegan. Actually, it's harder to find. Here, like I said, vegetarianism, meh, some people. Veganism, very rare. Lactose intolerance, kind of, yeah, there's some lactose intolerant people. I've seen some. I don't know anyone that's lactose intolerant. I've seen people in the streets ordering drinks and say, you know, don't put milk because I'm lactose intolerant, or stuff like that in their Starbucks, or stuff like that. I've seen that a few times, so they exist. Gluten, I've never seen anyone that was gluten intolerant. I don't know, it's not, these food allergies, I think nut allergy is actually more common than gluten intolerance here. I've never known anyone that had a problem with gluten. I've never seen I've never seen anyone at the store or supermarket ever buying any gluten-free stuff. I've seen people buy lactose-free milk, but I've never ever seen a person buy anything gluten-free except for myself. But they have it, so I'm guessing there are some, for sure. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but I mean, there must be a decent amount. I have no idea. If you're vegetarian and you're lactose intolerant, you're gonna have trouble eating out, for sure, I can guarantee it. If you do eat meat and you're not a vegetarian, you will have no problem whatsoever finding, you know, your meat or your fish or whatever, it won't contain, you know, lactose. If you are gluten intolerant, you're gonna have trouble eating out because since gluten is present in a lot of stuff that you wouldn't expect, even seasonings and all kinds of stuff like that, it's harder to be gluten-free than to be vegan and eat out. And you can try and ask, you know, your waiters and stuff, but even so, it's pretty hard. It's not, because it's not something that's very common here either. I've never seen on menus or anything, and I eat out decently often, I've never seen stuff that is like labeled gluten-free or lactose-free. But people know what it is. No, don't get me wrong, people know what gluten intolerance is and lactose intolerance is, but since it's very rare, most people don't bother, most kitchens, most places don't bother with it. Oh, one thing you should know though too, if you're going out to eat and you have these problems where you're vegan or you're lactose intolerant or something like that, it's pretty rare here for you to be able to sort of customize your food, as in, you know, ordering something but then asking the waiter like, can I have this but with like no dressing and no cheese? Or people don't do that much. People usually just order what they have and then leave what they don't like of it, or what they didn't want to eat, they will just leave it on the side of the plate, they won't eat it, more so than asking the waiter to change something that's there. I mean, this is for me, this is from my experience. I don't know, honestly I've lived here my whole life, so I think my experience is pretty good, but there might be people living here that are going to comment, oh no, I do this all the time, I have no problem, you know. For me, I don't know, for most people that I've seen around here, don't usually, it's hard to ask them unless you have a good reason for it. You can be like, I'm lactose intolerant, so I really can't have the cheese on it. Then people will probably understand. But if it's just like, I don't like this, and even for vegan stuff, I think people, I don't know if people, I mean, I'm sure the server will oblige and do it, but it's not very well, especially if you're at some social type thing. But you're better off not saying anything and then just not eating, you know, scraping whatever you don't like off and not eating it, rather than trying to, especially if you don't speak already the language and you're trying to figure it out. You're better off just scraping whatever you don't like off, or not eating whatever it is that you don't like. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it was useful for you, and you are going to come to Switzerland and travel, or if you want to live here, I hope this was useful for you. And let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, anything else that you'd like me to talk about or expand, if you have any other topics you'd like me to talk about or not. And yes, I will talk to you guys soon. Common allergens such as allergies, like food I really can't talk today. One thing that you do need to know is the labels. Oh my god, this is turning into such a mess. This is gonna be such a pain to edit. I'm gonna hate myself. No, I am not friends with any vegetarians, but I know that they exist. This is sounding really bad. Dairy, what was I talking about? The rest of my family, I can't talk today. Well, I'll finish this and then I'll talk about labels. Moo!